Hello everyone, welcome to another series of the Entrepreneur's Dilemma. If you're new here, welcome too. On this series, I host entrepreneurs from different industries sharing their stories with the intent to inspire new and emerging entrepreneurs. My name is Tobe Ezeife and I'm an entrepreneur as well. Life wasn't always this easy for me, especially when I got started. I lost a lot of money, I lost a lot of friends, and I literally almost lost my mind. But it wasn't until I started to network with other entrepreneurs, learn from their stories and their challenges, that I was able to take a hold of my business. So I'm hoping that the knowledge, tips, and information that you gather from this series today will help you on your journey too. So stay tuned and welcome again. Welcome, Nengi. Thank you for taking the time to share some of your wisdom and knowledge with us. I think it's amazing how small the world we live in is today. You know, if you take a peek outside your four walls of the people that you know, your friends and family, you'd be astounded by the amazing people that you can connect with in this world. And I connected with Nengi over social media, and I was immediately blown away by her passion and her talent for the things that she does. She has an amazing mind, an inspiring story, and a beautiful voice. And she's a speaker, writer, and singer. And she has a book coming out soon on mental health. So without any further ado, Nengi, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That sounds like some massive introduction. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Perfect. So Nengi, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Okay. My name is Nengi, as you said, Nengi Benstowe. It's a longer name, but we'll leave it at Nengi Benstowe. I studied biomedical science as my undergrad, and then I went on to do a project management, MBA in project management. Now I'm here talking about mental health. The whole thing about mental health has its own story altogether. But in a nutshell, I'm into project management. I'm talented at singing, so I'm pursuing that area. I'm making the best out of it. I also write, which resulted from doing something else. And I'm into speaking as well, which is sharing my passion with people.
Okay. Now let's talk about singing. Have you been singing from a very young age?
Yeah. Like I started singing. I started singing at age 8, actually. It was 8 when I started singing at the children's choir in church.
Nice. And you've been singing since then up until now?
Yes.
Wow.
And I think I'll be singing for another 80 years, maybe. Singing is part of me.
I was watching a video of you singing
really? Look at him stalk there.
I actually did stalk you. I went on YouTube and there was a link on your Instagram profile to one video of a video where you were singing in a studio, and there was a link to the YouTube, and I went to the YouTube. I was like, oh my God, that is some voice. Jesus, do you have to train? Do you do some voice training or stuff like that, or this is just all natural stuff like that?
I actually haven't done much of vocal training, which I am looking to do more of, because I'm taking music to the next level. I'm working on a single. If I'm going to take it further, I have to improve myself. All of it at the moment is more natural. I haven't invested much in terms of vocal training, hiring a vocal coach and all. That's the next line of action now. So it's taking it to the next level. But all of this just came from doing it natural and doing it in church.
Church is usually the best way to start when it comes to singing. You know, the greats, Celine Dion, Beyonce, even Kanye West, all started from church. Like, and look at them today. Cool. So Nengi, so what brings us here today is about the discussion around mental health, and this is something that you are massively passionate about. You know, when I went on your page, I saw the posts that you have. They're all related to mental health, and this is something that for many people, they don't realize how important it is. You know, until then they're in the crisis of dealing with mental health. Okay, so I want to understand where that passion stems from, you know, where that passion from you stems from. Where did it all begin when it comes to mental health for you?
Yeah. So I started out saying I studied biomedical science, and the whole idea behind going through biomedical science, because I wanted to be a medical doctor. So I came into Ireland 10 years ago on a state government scholarship from my country, Nigeria. I'm saying Nigeria because I'm not assuming you're Nigerian. Just say Nigeria anyway. I am. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't want to make assumptions. So I came into Ireland to study medicine through a state government scholarship that took, that was responsible for 100% of my accommodation, feeding, school fees. So it was fully funded. The scholarship was fully funded.
Okay.
So in my final year of my undergrad, which is the undergrad I was doing before going into postgrad medicine, the scholarship disappointed me a big time. It wasn't, they didn't even send an email to say, okay, we cannot continue funding you for your accommodation, your feeding, your school fees and all of those, and even the plan to go into medical school after your undergrad. I only heard on the news that the River State Government Scholarship no longer continues. And before then, they had told me to take loan, that they were having a bit of financial difficulty. I can go on to take loan and they were going to pay back the loan. I went on taking loan from 2 banks, AIB and Bank of Ireland. I was owing 2 banks. And here I am after taking huge sum of loan from 2 banks, and I'm finding out that the scholarship no longer exists because of change of government. So I was stuck.
So
in the middle of it.
You had 2 loans.
Sorry?
You had 2 loans from 2 different banks.
Yeah.
You were still in school and your scholarship was cut off.
Yes. Yeah. And I still have to pay. And I'm there dealing with house owner. You have to pay my rent. The school is on my neck. Oh, you have to pay your school fees before you can continue. Use a model, which is where you get your lecture notes and all of those. In the middle of it, I'm having to deal with immigration issues. Immigration is coming after me. They're coming after me to say, okay, you need to pay your school fees to renew your stay in the country, because the requirement is you pay your school fees to get a letter from the school to say you're a student in the school, and then you take that letter to go renew your immigration status. Okay. And if I'm not getting the letter from my school, that means I'm not renewing my immigration status, and immigration is on my neck to say you have to renew your stay or return back to your country. I can't return. I'm not done with what I came to do. I'm not even done with the first degree, which isn't. I came in to do 2 degrees, which is undergrad and then medicine later on. I'm not even done with that. What do I go back home to do after leaving the country for 3-4 years? What do I have to go back with? In the middle of dealing with that bit, I got the news that my father had passed away.
My God.
And this is the person who would have actually given me a bit of hand. Maybe not much because we didn't have much, but he would have given me a bit of support. And then he's gone. Coming from a polygamous family, my family members were on the case of the little he had. So I'm like, what do I fall back on? So it was just too much. I had a lot. And I started having issues with friends, disappointment from relationship, people I thought I built relationship with over a period of time. And if anything should happen, I think I have them to fall back on, but there were nowhere to be found. So huge disappointment from relationships. And I felt like my whole world was coming down on me. And this, we're talking about 4 or 5 years ago. So I was super young to be dealing with that level of stress. It took a toll on me mentally. I got into depression, really, really, really severe one. I remember saying to the doctor that, oh, I don't know what I'm feeling. Doctor said, there is nothing wrong with you. Are you sure you're not dealing with stuff internally? It was so bad, dealing with high level of blood pressure at the point. Yeah. And I remember at some point, a lady was talking to me about mental health because she started noticing things were not okay with me. She dealt with divorce, so she had an idea of what I was dealing with. And she was talking to me about taking care of my mental health when things are not going the way they should go and how to take care of myself. And I said to her, mental health is not something I'm interested in. I'm never going to deal with mental health. But here I am talking about it. So it's just knowing that we are all going to deal with major challenges at some point in our life. Well, it may not major for everybody. It might be a minor challenge, but it's knowing how to cope with it. Because we're all going to be hit at some point in our life. So the whole idea of me talking about mental health is to talk to people about how to deal with challenges, everyday challenges, whether small or big, because we are all going to deal with some stuff, whether now or later. So it's knowing how to deal with it. We're not caught up off guard and we don't fall off like I did. So that's why I talk about what I talk about.
Nengi, the things that you've mentioned, like if you actually break each of those individual challenges that you mentioned, if you just break them down, you've just dished them out to different people individually, that's enough for one person to handle, you know? But you have all of those things happening to you and they were happening kind of around the same time.
The same time, and even more. Like at a point, I remember somebody saying to me that Why not just get married to somebody for paper and save yourself all of this madness you're dealing with? You don't have money to parents, you don't have money for your school fees, you don't even have money to even take care of yourself. And there are men who are like offering, like, just marry me and I'll give you. Because I was told people do these things to secure their stay. Immigration is after you. Once you lose your immigration status, you become illegal. You might not be able to even do any job. And at the time I was applying for jobs, nothing was coming forward. So I had this pressure. There was financial pressure. There was pressure to get married to somebody to secure myself. There was family pressure. My mom she was dealing with a lot at the time from family because my dad had passed away. Academic pressure. It was just everything coming to me all at the same time. Everything coming to me all at the same time.
So walk me through the steps that brought you out of this. I'm really interested to know.
Coping mechanism. Okay. So at the time, I'd say the one thing, there were many other things that helped me come out of it. Yeah. But the one thing that gave me a stronger stand was just my faith. Okay. I'm not very religious, but I believe in the teachings of the ancient book, which is the Bible. Okay. So I've taken that before I left Nigeria, actually. So I believe so much in it and the teachings in it. And I tried my best to live my life according to it. I'm not so perfect. I fall and I get up, but I've tried to live my life according to the ancient book, which is the Bible. And that part of the Bible that says, in all things we're more than conquerors. Okay, there's that specific part of it that said that. Knowing that things are not going to go my way, in Romans 8, that all things work together for good. That's actually what I was trying to remember. All things work together for good. Having that understanding of what I'm dealing with at the moment will work out for my good, kind of like kept me on the right path. And knowing that if I took a shortcut, which I had an option to take, because I made up my colleagues who took a shortcut, knowing that if I took that shortcut, I will be displeasing a higher power that I hold there. So having that faith kept me away from taking decisions that appeared like palatable at the time, but were shortcuts. Kind of helped me, and it gave me mental stability as well, because I kept meditating on those things in the ancient book, which is the Bible, knowing that all things work together for good. And the more I kept saying these things to myself, so when things are coming to me, I'm like, okay, this may look bad, it may look horrible, but it's going to turn out well for me. It's going to turn out well for me. There is a light at the end of it. It's going to work out well. God is working out something inside of me. I'm getting stronger through this. I'm building resilience through this. I'm learning through things through this. I'm gaining wisdom through this. Those were the things I kept telling myself. It's going to hurt me, but as it's hurting me, it's remolding me. It's making me somebody better. It's refining me. It's giving me a message for my generation. And I kept telling myself that tough things come to tough people because it refines them and makes greatness out of them. So the more the horrible things, it was like they were coming in turns. One thing happens today, tomorrow something bigger happens, the next day something else happens, and they were just all coming at me. I just kept telling myself, if God, which is the power you've always believed in, is allowing this thing come to you, just like Job, he's going to make a bigger testimony out of it. And I think I'm seeing those testimonies because if I didn't go through what I went through, I would not be talking about mental health. I found a passion through what I went through. I'm writing a book through what I went through. My voice in terms of singing, there are certain songs that I sing, and when it comes to songs that encourage people, the strength to which I sing them, it's not the same as somebody who have not been through tough time. So the tough times are a way of refining me. It brought out a different side of me. It matured me. There are people I talk to now and they be like, you're just too mature and too wise for your age. And deep inside me, I say, I've had to chew a lot. I've had to figure out things myself. I've had to say no, even when it looks like I should be saying yes. So that helped me gain a bit of maturity and wisdom. I just don't want to just blah, blah, blah. Wow. Because I have a tendency of just going on and going on.
I am blown away. I can tell you this for sure. I don't know how I would have been able to handle any of the things that you handled.
But you see, sometimes people say that, but if somebody had told me that I'll be able to deal with your stuff, let's say someone told me that, okay, Nengi, next year you're going to deal with A, you are going to deal with B, you're going to deal with C, D. All of these are going to come at you and you're going to come out of it. I'll say, no, don't bring them to me because I won't be able to deal with that. But they're saying that whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. True. And some of these things, we don't prepare for them, but they come at us to make us better. So because I'm able to do, I've come out of this. When I meet people who are dealing with tough time, I'm able to tell them it's not going to kill you. stay through it. It's going to bring out a better side of you. It's going to create a better, a refined, a smarter and a wiser part of you. So just stay through it. Stay through it. It might hurt. It will be painful. It's gonna wear you out emotionally, but don't worry. There is a light. It's not going to end this way. It's not going to always be like this, which is what tends to happen when people are dealing with difficulty. You just think that I'm dealing with this and I'm always going to be in this situation. So it's just that understanding that you're here, you're not always going to be here. It's only a phase that is going to pass. That phase in my life is past and it's gone. Wow. But it's gone and it's made somebody different entirely out of me.
I like that. I really do like that. Wow. And you're glowing, I have to say.
Sorry?
I said you're glowing.
I'm glowing. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Hey, oh, well, Nengi, I can see that passion. I can see where that passion stems from. And it comes from experiencing those bad times. And that has refined you to the person you are today. Now, if we come to kind of the topic today around entrepreneurs and mental health, okay?
Yeah.
My question to you is this, why is it important for entrepreneurs to be cautious about mental health?
Okay. Bringing this back home, the field of an entrepreneur or the field of entrepreneurship, it's a unique one in the sense that it creates space for loneliness. It's very competitive. So somebody who is an entrepreneur is not just thinking about himself. He's thinking about the stakeholders. He's thinking about customers. So the environment of the job itself or the environment of the field itself, it creates a kind of world of loneliness, of anxiety and competition. In the sense of having all of this, entrepreneurs tend to make decisions that unknown to them is hurting them. Okay, I'm trying to see how best I can put this and get a message.
I'm following you. Just keep going.
Yeah. Okay. So the life of an entrepreneur is very competitive. It's not only in the sense that they want to. They try to isolate themselves, to allow themselves to think and to come up with the right decision.
Sure.
So in trying to do that, they don't realize that they are not creating time for things that will help them achieve emotional stability. And that's why I'm very big into your 5 a day, which is the first, which is connection, creating time for people. So an average entrepreneur would say you have to let go and make sacrifices of certain things to get what you want. So in trying to make sacrifice, they make sacrifice of social life, which is creating time for people. They make sacrifice of maybe romantic life. So time for family suffers and time for friends or your squad suffers because you're trying to self-isolate yourself to build your business.
I heard you talk about 5 different aspects that an entrepreneur should take into account when dealing with like being able to manage and control their mental health. Like the first one you mentioned there, which was connection. What are the others? Okay,
so the first one is connection, which is creating time for people, for loved ones, for friendship, for social gathering. In trying to do that, you are creating friends, you're building relationship with friends. So when things don't work or when you're frustrated from business, you have somebody to confide in. If something exciting happens in the course of doing your business, you're sharing that with somebody. So the more you share things with people, if they're negative things, you let them off your chest. Okay, so that helps you. It helps your mental stability. And if there are good things as well, and sharing with people, the more you talk about something good, the more you expand it in your mind. Okay. And in terms of romantic side of relationship as well, if you're connecting in terms of your loved ones, or let's say a girlfriend or a wife, the romantic side of things actually it's acts like a resilience for you, because it kind of creates a bed or a shoulder for you to cry on when things don't work well. And it creates a relationship that you trust and you're fully invested in, which helps emotionally with dealing with tough times in business, which always comes anyway. The second part of it is giving. In the process of giving, which should happen every day, you create, it's like they say, when you give, you receive joy back. So everyone who gives receives something back. When you give people, you make things work. It might be given in terms of money, it might be given in terms of your time, it can be given in terms of kindness. Okay, when you make people smile, you receive smile in return. When you go out of your way to do things for people, you receive something back in return. Going out of your way can be going out of your way for people who you work with. It can be for loved ones, your mother, your mom, your brothers, your friends. So doing something for other people in return, you bring smile to their face, and that even helps your emotional well-being. Just think about buying something for somebody. When you give somebody a gift and they're excited, you'll feel better. And the whole idea of this is you're releasing hormones in your body, which is cortisol and endorphins. These hormones make you feel better. Okay. The third one there is learning. The act of picking up information. Learning. The third one is learning.
Okay.
Okay. Picking up information. They say the more you learn, your mind becomes more alert. So the more you learn, the more your mind becomes more alert, the younger you get in your mind, because as you're constantly learning, you're aware of the progression of the world, you're aware of new things, you're aware of how things are working. You don't feel left behind. And in learning, you are making yourself better. So you're improving in your skill. And everybody feels good about themselves when they feel like they are doing well, or they're improving themselves in their field, or they are getting close to their goals. So the sense of I'm getting close to my goal and I am achieving what I want to achieve, give you this sense of achievement, the sense of fulfillment, that you're progressing, you're getting close to your goals, you're getting close to the person you've always wanted to be. Makes you feel good. The fourth one there is being active, staying active. So exercise. Exercise, when you exercise, your body releases hormones called cortisol. So that makes you feel good. It's also called the feel-good hormone. I'm just rushing through this because that's not the main thing we're talking about. So, and then the last one there is taking notice, where mindfulness comes into. And this is actually the main area that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with. Creating that space where they are not thinking about business, or where they're not thinking about stakeholders, they're not thinking about customers. Creating that space, that me time. That me time, okay? So it's no longer business, or I'm talking to someone, I'm replying to emails, or I'm doing this. It is creating time for your own self. Creating time for your own self. In the course of doing this, you can tell when perhaps things are not going well with you in your mind. You can tell when pain somewhere in the body. It's just good sometimes to disconnect from everything and just stay with yourself. Just observe some few minutes of silence. And in the process of doing that, actually, you're taking in as well. So the essence of mindfulness is that you're disconnecting from everything and you are giving yourself. Because the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So creating that time for yourself is you're in a quiet space, you are meditating on something positive, or you're making affirmations, okay, maybe for an hour or two before you start your day, or towards the end of the day, where you're not thinking about anything. The space is quiet, your phone is off, you're not replying emails, and you're just on yourself, reflecting, listening to maybe a calm music, just on your own and not doing anything. But see, with the life of an entrepreneur, it's kind of hard because there is this sense of you have to grind. There is this sense of you have to always work. There is no time for play, or there is no time let me go catch up.
That's the conception.
Sorry, what did you say?
That's the conception. That's what we believe. Like, that's what I believe personally. I feel like I always have to work, and there's no time for play, and you see all these high performing achievers, like the athletes, they're always working, they're always training. So it's kind of like you have to do the same, so like making time to then make these connections, making time to then be active, making time to do this mindfulness, it seems like it's not important at the time. It feels like the only thing important is just work. So how, I suppose for me now, like it took me to get to a very, very dark area in my journey towards entrepreneurship to realize that I did need all these things that you're now saying, So yeah, I really don't know how to explain it, but I feel that a lot of entrepreneurs still believe that it is work. So you're saying that it's not work. It's about building these different 5 pillars that would then help you.
Yeah, I think there's nothing bad in hard work, because hard work is required for success. But I think where a lot of entrepreneurs is having issue is the balance. So I was reading up some days ago, and they said about 80% of entrepreneurs are dealing with mental health issues. About 80%. So we're talking about 8 over 10. So if it's not depression, if it's ADHD, so that shouldn't be there if there is a right balance. I read something up for you. I just have to find where I put that down.
Okay.
I was reading up on Elon Musk. I think that was 3 weeks ago when I was speaking in some Instagram live session, and I stumbled on this Elon Musk quote. He was saying that during an interview. I read that up for you just the way it is. He said, "Work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in 80 to 100 hours of work every week. This improves the odds of your success." So if you are working 80 to 100 hours every week, we are talking about working from 8 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. 6 days. 8 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. for 6 days. And Elon Musk would be like the role model of many entrepreneurs. This is how much he works.
Yeah.
He's about 42 with about 2 divorces. So that says something about where the time management is coming into. So he's running with that idea of work. There is, you have to make sacrifices of certain things and invest in what you want to achieve. I have no problem with that. But what I am advocating for is make sure in the course of working, you are not losing sight of your mental health, your emotional well-being. Okay. I stumbled on Mark Zuckerberg. He works about 16 hours a day. He works about 16 hours a day in the Facebook office. 16 hours, just subtract that out of 24 hours that we have in a day. That tells you, now you have to ask yourself, where is time for sleep? And where is time for family? You know, and these are the main things that help you achieve emotional stability. Okay. First is rest. I'm just going to adjust this a little bit. Okay. The first thing is sleep, rest. A lot of entrepreneurs go with this mindset of, oh, you have to grind, you have to work to achieve success. You have to burn the midnight candle. But imagine going through 1 month getting 4 hours of sleep. And one of the reasons why a lot of entrepreneurs have mental health issues, because some of them rely so much on caffeine to keep the body running. So imagine getting 3 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep, okay, for like 1 month, and then you've been giving your body caffeine to fight the natural desire to rest. Okay, doing that on a long period of time, do you not think it's going to affect you at some point? The body is wired to work and rest, and that's because we run with the mindset of a sprint and not marathon. So a lot of entrepreneurs want to achieve success and achieve it now and forgo these other things. They want it now and not realizing that you have to run with the balance and do it like marathon.
Now let me just say something there. What if the goal was to work so hard now with the hope to achieve those things later?
So you're saying work so hard now?
Yeah, work so hard now. Tell yourself
achieve it now, and then you rest later?
Yes, rest later.
So that's personally, I don't think. Okay, let's refer back to Elon Musk. Okay, he's working so hard. I give him upload. Like he is an entrepreneur a lot of people look up to. Okay. But if you don't have a balance, okay, what is success if at 50 you don't have your health? What is success if at 45 you don't have a stable home? You don't have a stable family? Don't get it twisted. The reason why a lot of people end up in suicide, there is something so big. I didn't touch on much about how I dealt with the problems I dealt with and how I came out of them. One is faith. The second part is relationship. People helped me out of it. I had support. There's something called support system, support mechanism. There is something Jigsaw would say, you're one good person. You cannot do without people in life. So there'll be a point in your life where you'll be so heat. You might deal with frustration from the job you're doing or from the business you're doing. You will need, there are times when you're weak that you just need a hug. Or you just need somebody to tell you that it's going to be okay. You just need a trusted person to tell you that this is not who you are. You failed now, you're not a failure. There are times when you just need somebody to speak you back to you. But if you have not invested in people, don't wait for a withdrawal, because you're not going to get no withdrawal. if you have not invested in relationship. Because a lot of time people run business, they invest in everything in business, and at the point when they need withdrawal from relationship, they have not made withdrawal in any good relationship, so they have nothing to fall back on. So I think the way it should be is marathon, you have the balance. So you do business, you're doing your business, but you're also having the balance of making sure that you're doing business, you are getting rest, you're getting sleep. You're doing business, you're creating time for the people that matter in your life. You're creating time for romantic relationship. You're creating time for your mom. If you're not married, you're creating time for, even if you're married, you're creating time for your spouse. You're creating time for your children, because there will be a time where you will need them to survive. There's a song that said, I won't harm you with words from my mouth, because I love you. I need you to survive. We all need each other. No matter how successful, the most successful people in the world. Obama was saying he would not have gotten to the White House without Michelle Obama. Imagine he just kept chasing presidential appointment and did not create time for her. You're just gonna get up there and you're there alone. And that is where the loneliness that a lot of entrepreneurs deal with come into. Because they just go. And when they get to the top, they are so alone. And loneliness is not good for emotional well-being, because we are wired for one another. We are wired for one another.
You're preaching here, man.
No, I'm not a preacher.
My God. Are you guys listening to this? Wow.
No, I'm not a preacher. Let me tell you something else. Another thing that I believe a lot of, apart from the loneliness that comes with being an entrepreneur, and that loneliness a lot of time comes from not creating time to build relationship, because they just run as sprint. I want to achieve it now and grind and deal with the pain. Another thing that a lot of entrepreneurs deal with is the need to impress, or this impression management. If you go to the Facebook page or Instagram page of an average entrepreneur, you will see posts like, oh, wake up, work, slave, I'm grinding. And they just give this impression of people who are achieving.
Guilty.
Guilty. Yeah. You give this impression, they don't tell you when days they're waking up and they're thinking, that feeling of the feeling of disappointment that comes once in a while, or the need to meet certain deadlines that is not working, or things that are not working. You don't see all of those. There is this desire in an average entrepreneur to impress people, and it comes with just doing the job, because you want people that are following you to see you as strong. You want your investors to see you as strong. You don't want them to see you as weak, because if they see you as weak, they may not invest. So there's that desire to impress people around you. Perhaps you have even forgone your 9-to-5 job. You've told your manager that I'm not going to reduce myself to work for anybody. So I'm going to go work for myself, own my own thing, and be the CEO of my life. So when things are not really working, you don't want people to see that I am getting worn out now and I need help. So that desire to wear a font and make it seem like this entrepreneur business, oh my God, I'm making billions right now. Whereas in the real sense, you might just be struggling. But because you're putting on the front, you're not really going to seek for help or open up to people that you're supposed to be opening up to get to the emotional support that you need.
Oh, Nengi. I don't even know where to start. Because everything you've said so far, they're like, they speak so much to me, and to a lot of the things that all of troubles that I have been facing as an entrepreneur as well. I found it hard to connect with people. I found it very difficult. I found myself alone most of the times, because sometimes I think that it's necessary for me to be alone. But what you said there is very important, because if you don't build the relationships now, even when you get the job, or even when you have those moments when you need that connection from people, you can't withdraw from something that you have not put money into. Like, it's like going to the bank when you have no savings or you have no money in there. So that is really, really important. And that really does help me a lot now, just knowing that. Can I just ask, how can entrepreneurs sense when depression is creeping in?
Okay. The moment you start realizing that you are having mood swings, those are one of the signs. Okay. Wow. Your mood is no longer stable like they were. If you're an outgoing person, all of a sudden apart from the isolation from doing the job, but even when you're not working, you don't really want to talk to people. That desire, you start feeling withdrawn from people. Okay. And the moment you start noticing that you are getting anxious for no reason, these are one of the signs. It's just saying to you that you need to withdraw back. You need to withdraw back. The moment you start noticing a bit of instability, or your appetite for food, or appetite for rest. Sometimes you go to bed, you'd normally, maybe you try to get 6 hours or 7 hours of sleep, and all of a sudden you realize that you find it hard to sleep at night. A bit of restlessness. Those are one of the things to look out for.
And when you do fall into this, say for example, when you start to notice these things, what are the quick things? Does this go back to those 5 things, those 5 pillars that you've mentioned that people then need to adopt to their life so that they can escape this depression?
Yeah. So if you are doing mindfulness, which is the area of stopping and taking notice, okay? The moment where you're doing that mindfulness, you will sit yourself down, okay, and ask yourself, why am I beginning to feel mood swings? Why am I losing appetite for food? Or why all of a sudden I'm overeating? Why am I struggling to sleep at night? There is always a cause for everything. It's like a tree. The moment the roots, the moment that you notice the leaf of a tree is drying out, the first question to ask is, what is happening down the root? Is the tree losing water? Is it losing nutrient? Okay, so the moment you notice some things are no longer the way they used to be, you have to go down back to the root. What changed? What had happened? Maybe, as one of the things I say, perhaps I'm experiencing loneliness, which is number one thing that entrepreneurs deal with. Maybe I have disconnected myself from people, okay, and I'm not having enough social environment to help me deal with situation. Or maybe I am dealing with fear or uncertainty, which is the second thing I love entrepreneurs deal with. Perhaps I'm being anxious for nothing. Maybe I'm overthinking the business plans, or maybe I'm overthinking the investment. Perhaps I'm just overthinking things, or I'm afraid of uncertain things. You know, so if you're able to identify, perhaps I'm scared, or I'm thinking of too many uncertainties that might happen. If that's the reason, then address it. You know, or it can be, maybe I'm not open enough. Perhaps I'm pretending, and it's not giving me room to seek the help that I need. Or maybe I'm making my friends feel like I've got billions coming in for me. So when money is not there, I'm not confident enough to ask for help financially. Have I been putting on the front? You know, these are the things to ask. So the whole thing is you sit yourself down when things no longer go the way they used to go, and ask yourself, what has gone missing? What is wrong down the road?
And when is that time?
When you're able to identify it.
When is that time when you have to ask for professional help?
Yeah, the moment you start noticing things are no longer the way they used to be, the moment you start noticing the sleep is no longer the way it used to be, or the moment you start noticing you're no longer eating the way you were eating, first I would advise that one sits down, okay, and address the situation by themselves. Okay, just sit yourself down and ask yourself, if it's a situation of struggling with isolation, then what you do is you start creating time for relationship and meeting up with people. Or creating time for rest. If it's a case where you've not been sleeping well, you've not been resting well, and it's stress, the pressure dealing with you, then you just put a hold, pause, and get some rest. Sometimes some of these things can be dealt with before going to a professional. If it's to a point where it's out of hand, then you advise to seek professional help.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nengi, that is so much knowledge that you've just dropped there. So much knowledge, and I'm really happy that you've shared that. Yeah. I suppose my next question for you is there, you've mentioned balance. So you are saying that we have to have balance between our chase for the goals that we want and building, you know, and putting energy into the things that help us emotionally.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be very difficult to tell a very young or a starting entrepreneur.
Yes, because there is this desire to achieve, and then you're running with that desire to get this, get that. It is.
That's a very difficult thing to tell a starting entrepreneur, really. And I'm just thinking back to when I started. If someone had told me, okay, listen, you need to focus on relationships, give some time to relationship rather than, stay up all night 4 hours and work. I'll be like, no, that doesn't make sense, Well, do you think that, do you really think that these are things that you need to do at the start? These are things that you need to work side by side at the start? Or you think that once you get to that level where it's beginning to hurt, you start then working on these things?
Okay.
I know that's an interesting question now that I've just thrown at you. So however way you want to answer it, just share your opinion on it.
It's, the doctors will say an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Yeah.
So it's the same way I see it. Don't wait until you get sick before you start taking care of yourself, before you start maybe eating the right food. Make it a daily practice to avoid getting sick. So if an entrepreneur is starting out, okay, and they understand they need this balance, actually having this balance helps you achieve even bigger success on the longer run. But if they are starting out with this understanding that they need this balance, if they're able to do this 5 a day, okay, they will not get to a point where they're dealing with mental health issues like depression or anxiety. Yeah.
That's a good idea to write down in the book and actually sell to people. The way to balance for starting.
Yeah. And we're only beginning to talk about these things now. So there is just so much stigma around mental health. So it's only now we're beginning to talk about these things.
Why is it now? Why do you think now more than ever mental health is very important?
It's always been important, but it was swept under the carpet. It's always been important.
You think
it was just swept under the carpet?
Shut up through the roof now. Okay, I suppose when you sweep something under the carpet and it stays there for long, it then just blows out of proportion.
Yeah, I think we are beginning to see maybe there's been a generational shift as well. Okay, things have changed, people have moved. So we're beginning to see, and having social media as well, we're beginning to see the world from our rooms, from our bedroom. Okay, like you're on Zoom and then you're coming into my house now. You didn't have Zoom when you come into my house. So we are beginning to see the world. We are beginning to hear more cases of suicide. I think it was last month a girl committed suicide in Navan. And the month before, somebody committed suicide in Jordan. And a lot of other things. When somebody commits suicide in Nigeria, I'm seeing it on Facebook. Somebody commits suicide in Canada, I'm seeing it on Facebook. So the world is beginning to see the effect of mental health issues and the problem it brings from not dealing with it. We're beginning to see these things more than ever. Before internet, these things happened and nobody talked about it, nobody knew about it, because they were happening in spaces that we could not travel to see. But now we are traveling to each other's houses from our house. We're traveling to each other's country from our house. So we are beginning to see more, hence why we're beginning to see the need to identify the things that are causing these things. So it's just what it is. We're beginning to see more, we're beginning to talk about it now.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that, especially with the rise of social media now, being able to, like, the world is like your oyster now. You can literally pick and choose what you want. I remember I was listening to you talk at a different event, and you said something about building resilience. You talked about how important resilience is for entrepreneurs as well. Can you just touch slightly on that as well?
Okay, it's this 5 a day, they need to connect with people, they need to give, they need to learn, they need to exercise, and they need to practice mindfulness. These things actually help you build resilience. So look at resilience. I'm trying to think of a very good example. Look at resilience like, what best can I use to describe this so it drives the point home? Look at resilience like going out with an umbrella, even when it's not raining.
Okay.
Because you foresee that there's a probability of it raining. Okay. So sometimes when I go out, I have this little pockets umbrella, I put in my handbag just in case it rains. So you're going with that. So when it rains, you are protected anyway. Okay. So when you're doing these things every day, you have a cover. It can be like an umbrella, it can be like a raincoat. So when the rain eventually comes, which happens anyway, it's always going to rain every year. So when the rain comes, you are protected. You are in a cover. So this is why I say every entrepreneur should practice things that will help them build an umbrella or raincoat that will protect them from when the challenges of their business comes on them, that they don't break down, they don't wear out. The reason why a lot of entrepreneurs, about 75% entrepreneurs, according to Bloomberg, give up their business is because they don't have enough resilience that when the hard time comes, you can stay through the tough time. It's not having that resilience that makes a lot of entrepreneurs back out or get sick emotionally, fall into depression, fall into anxiety. So hence the need to run with mental health as if it's part of the business, taking care of oneself as if it's part of the business. So that's just literally what resilience is. Ability to bounce back, or having what it is to bounce back when things go out of hand. And these are the things that will help you bounce back. Connect with people. Don't live an isolated life. It's not always about no pain, no gain. Sometimes you have to take a step back and take in so you can give. Take in so you can give. Take in through relationships so you can give. You have to create time for yourself as well, for mindfulness. Don't just work. 16 hours, 17 hours, they are good as long as you're doing with a balance. So it's having that mentality that business succeeds better when there is and business is not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It is a marathon. Successful businesses that have tested the test of time, and for those who have done businesses and are still alive up until their 70s to enjoy the business, they've done it as marathon, not a sprint. You can be successful, sacrifice your health, okay, to make a big name or to create a big business. But there is no wisdom in sacrificing your health to create a business that will add value to the world, and then you are gone in no time.
Jobs.
Sorry?
Like Steve Jobs, the CEO of Apple. I remember he's one of the most brilliant minds that this world has ever seen. Creating a product like Apple. And I remember, I'm not sure about this exactly, but I remember him saying on his deathbed that, the hospital bed is the most expensive bed in the world, because you can pay people to work for you can pay people to build airplanes for you, but you can't pay people to stay on the hospital bed for you. And it's funny how, when you come towards the end of your life, either through sickness or anything, the things that are important to you are those minor things that you ignored, throughout the journey of your life. The relationships, the love, the giving, everything that you just mentioned there.
See that? Isn't that funny how you say that? That when at the end of the day, the most important things are not the houses, they're not the gadgets you have created, they're not the businesses. The most in your deathbed, what you're thinking about is your loved ones. If you have kids, you're looking at them. Was I there for them? You are looking at the lives that you have touched, the people you have impacted. Hence the need to give. So these things are literally practical things that we should be doing every day to actually, these are the biggest values you can add. You can give to the world, not even your business idea. The biggest value you can give is bringing out your talent, but also making sure that you create time for the most important people who are going to be in the hospital with you if you should come to the end of your life. Because your clients will not be there for you. The people who are enjoying your service will not be in the hospital bed with you. It's the same wife that probably did not get enough of you, or the same kids that suffered from you doing your business that will be there. And the question you ask yourself is, how many lives have I touched at the end of the day?
You're making me a bit teary now, to be honest. So
yeah, it is. Yeah, this balance is hard, to be honest. It is. I'm a driven person. I'm very, very driven. When I put my mind on something, if I want to do something, I don't hear it can't happen. So I'm that kind of person. So I understand how it feels, or what it feels like to want to achieve something or create something. That competition to do this and to do it now. That competition and the need to invest and put in. It's good to invest. It's good to work hard, but wisdom, my Asian book, which is Bible, will say wisdom is profitable to direct. Wisdom is profitable to direct. And everything that you do is just being aware of the wisdom. What is the wise thing to do at the moment? What is the wise thing to do at the moment? What's more important? Do you want to achieve the business within the space of 2 years, and then you sacrifice the most important things, which is your health, which is your loved ones? will you sacrifice that to achieve that your business in two years? Or are you going to spread out your achievements within a space of 5-10 years and then still carry your family along and still create time for your own self and your health? So it's just the wisdom I think a lot of entrepreneurs are not having or balancing.
Oh, Nengi, you've been amazing, honestly. You have wiped the floor here. And I really appreciate you for that. As we draw towards the end of this, I just want to ask what your vision is. Like you have, like what you've said today has not only impacted me so much, you know, I literally have, I'll tell you this now, I literally have someone who's messaged me on the phone asking to catch up, you know, for drinks today. But at the same time, I have so many client calls that I need to make. And I'm literally going to tell the person, now listen, I'm going to catch up with you. Clients can wait. Let's do this because it's going to help me with, you know, being in a better emotional state to even deal with the clients at a later stage. So I really appreciate this. And I think that, you know, if people start to expose themselves to these things that don't matter now, the apple a day analogy that you used, you know, start applying these little nuggets of the things that you've shared, it will go a long way in changing how they view entrepreneurship as well. So my question to you is about what's your, like with this knowledge that you have now, what is your plan to do with it? Like, what is the vision that you have, and what's the plan with the knowledge that you have? How do you want to take it to the world? What is the ideal world that you're trying to create with this gifts that you have?
Oh, you call it gift. Okay. I believe that's to do with mental health, right?
Yeah.
Emotional well-being. Okay. I'm looking forward to a time where we can have mental health discussion, the same way we talk about how to do workouts in the gym. These are normal discussions that we are having. Okay. People don't have a problem talking about your green smoothie every day. You would see many YouTube videos on that. How to take care of your health, how to lose weight, how to do your makeup. You know, we don't have problem about how to take care of your hair. I look forward to a time when this can be a comfortable discussion that we can be having, how to take care of yourself, your emotional well-being, and it's not an issue. That's for me on the long run, that I can sit with people and have discussion on mental health and not feel like they're uncomfortable with it, or not feel like, oh, there is a stigma around this, maybe I should not talk about. Somebody asked me some months ago, why did you choose mental health? Like, you want to go into speaking, why start out with something that people don't want to hear about anyway? And I said, mine is born of passion, not the needs to say what people want to hear. So I hope someday, pretty soon, that mental health discussion will be something that entrepreneurs are comfortable having and not feel like, I don't need it, or wait until life knocks them down like it did to me before they start talking about it, or before they start paying attention to want to learn more about it. And also on the other hand, I'm looking to write books, more books. I'm currently working on one at the moment. I'm going to put more books. Sorry?
I was going to ask you about that. What book are you working on at the moment?
It's on emotional well-being.
Tell us, are you free to tell us?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's be out before the end of the year. They're just little things that you can do, not too big. They're not like big psychological things to be working your head out. So you're not learning psychology, as some people think mental health to be. Oh, if you're reading a mental health book, people are thinking, oh, maybe psychology. No. They are just practical things that we do every day that can help us.
Okay. And when the book is out, how do we expect to get them?
You will find it everywhere, trust me. You find it on Amazon.
I like that confidence.
And I'm definitely going to bombard you like, oh, it's here. The long-awaited book.
Cool.
It's going to be available everywhere.
Is it possible for people to reach you and just talk to you about these things if they have issues? I'm not saying that probably, I don't want to bombard everyone to you, but like, are you open to having discussions with people about these talks?
Okay, I'll make a quick disclaimer. I'm not a clinical psychologist. Okay, I'm working towards an expatriate, but I'm not a clinical psychologist. So I may not be on the ground to give you counseling because I can give counseling, but I'm not, I don't have the legal qualification to give you counseling. I can give advice, but I'm not going to give counseling. Okay. So if somebody wants to have a chat, that's perfectly fine. If somebody wants my advice, that's perfectly fine. But I'm not open for counseling because I don't have the legal right yet. I'm working on that, but I don't have that yet to give counseling. Okay. I'm on social media. That's so far the best.
Guys,
And I have a website as well.
come and watch us. Well, not us. You should watch Nengi on the tea breaks that she has. She has a tea on Instagram. So I'll put that Instagram handle there, so you can just join her on her tea breaks. She has amazing content, guys, and it's one of those things that once you open your page, it just inspires you, the type of things that she does. And Nengi, thank you so much. I don't know if you have any last words, any last advice to give, or anything you want to give new entrepreneurs that will be seeing this today and will, something that they'll just have, in their front-facing view when approaching entrepreneurship.
Okay. The most successful entrepreneurs did not approach entrepreneurship as a sprint, but rather as marathon. So don't try to achieve it all overnight. Run with it like a marathon and have balance and apply wisdom in everything. And then the last one, health is wealth. Good health is the best success you can achieve. And that means good mental health is the best success you can achieve. Having that balance is wisdom.
Wow. Nengi, you've done amazing today, and I want to thank you so much for the time. I really, really appreciate so much knowledge you've dropped here. You even got me teary at one point, but I really appreciate the work, and thank you so much for taking the time, okay?
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invite. It's been a pleasure chatting with you today.
Yeah. Bye now. Take care. See ya.
All right, Jim.